Welcome back, True Seeker. June 3rd, 2024. Lots to talk about. Today's news, catching up on some stories we missed over the weekend. And what we'll cover in this stream is Anthony Fauci, why he's really testifying before Congress on the 155th day of the year in 2024, just before his 84th birthday. If you've read my first book, Letters and Numbers, you know all about the pandemic in 155 and why the first simulation of it was May 15th, 15/5 in 2018, and why 2 years to the day later, Trump declared Operation Warp Speed on that day, Mercuralia. If not, we'll get you caught up to speed. My books are out there. Number Games. Again, big section on 155 in the pandemic, and now Anthony Fauci talking about it all these years later on the 155th day of the year. Of course, Number Games came out in the middle of 2020. Trump expected to raise $150 million after the guilty verdict on May 30th, typically the 150th day of the year. And remember when Alec Baldwin, who portrayed Donald Trump on SNL, smoked the Ukrainian woman at 1:50 p.m. local time? All the media had to tell you it happened at 1:50 p.m. right before Ukraine-Russia broke out, and that was during the shooting of the movie Rust, like Russia, in the church shootout scene. If you don't know about 150, we'll get you up to speed on that too. RIP to Larry Allen, considered one of the greatest NFL linemen in history. Dead at 52, and he was a member of that Cowboys team. Actually, I'm going to go back and double check that. I'm pretty sure he was on that Cowboys team that won the Super Bowl with 52 points over the Buffalo Bills. But yeah, we're going to get to why Larry Allen died on June 2nd, why it matters that he was the 46th pick of the draft, why it matters that he wore number 73 this upcoming NFL season, familiar patterns. It'll remind you what we just talked about with O.J. Simpson's passing. Pat McAfee, the former NFL player who has the show on ESPN with the big ratings, he's in hot water today for calling Caitlin Clark a white bitch. And it's just like, God, I mean, the stuff that buzzes, it's like, why do people care so much about words? What happened to my childhood when the phrase was, sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me? All these headlines trying to have you emotionally hurt over something that somebody said. Literally, shouldn't be newsworthy. We need a new standard in society. Headlines like this, we don't want our time wasted with them. I did some research on Bill Maher. I can't believe all these years I never looked at the end of Politically Incorrect, his old show, to the start of Real Time on HBO. Of course, it was exactly 33 weeks later. We're going to talk more about that. The New York Stock Exchange glitch today with Berkshire Hathaway. Absolutely hilarious, you guys. If you're new here, we're going to be talking about Gematria and all these things. Again, Gematria tells the tale on all these stories. Larry Allen, 62, dead on 6/2. Coronavirus, 155 on the 155th day of the year, the Anthony Fauci testimony. But there are 4 base ciphers of the English language, and you can see on the screen that Wall Street equals 135, 36, 135, and 63. When they stopped trading because of the glitch today, the Dow was down 135 points, and of course, the date can be written 3-6 or 6-3. These types of things happen all the time with Wall Street because, again, this is the cabal code. Letters and numbers, and every day you learn this little code, you just see through everything. The rigged games, the rigged market, the rigged news, the rigged elections, like Claudia Sheinbaum with Freemasonry's birthday. Again, the timing of Michelle Obama's mother's death and the election of the first female president in Mexico just really shines a light on exactly what I predicted for this moment. The exact prediction wasn't dead on, but we're getting all the signs in the world of exactly what I was anticipating for this exact moment back when Joe Biden first took office, January 20th, 2021. We'll talk more about that. We'll talk about what's interesting about the Akron, Ohio shooting, the San Joaquin County fires that have burned thousands of acres, China landing on the dark side of the moon. And again, if you missed last week's hailstorm in Denver, cover that quickly too, just because weather warfare is a real thing. So yeah, Anthony Fauci, 155th day of the year, coronavirus in Gematria, 155. And if you have not read my book, number games. There were so many rituals with 155 and coronavirus. It was ridiculous. But now here we are, even after the pandemic, and they still got to hit you with the same type of ritual, having Anthony Fauci testify about the origins of COVID-19 on the 155th day of the year. And this testimony deserves a finer examination that it's gotten so far. But I mean, just already, it's like, come on. Come on. And you know what, you guys, I was thinking about it. Anthony Fauci is going to turn 84 years old this year when flu season comes around. He's got that Christmas Eve birthday, December 24th. Again, he was the head of NIH from 1984 on. Not only is today the 155th day of the year, but Anthony Fauci, from his birthday to today, is his 163rd day of his age. That is the 38th prime number. And the word pandemic equals 38. And remember, he retired after being with the NIH for 38 years. We were talking about that when he retired. So 163rd day of his age, 38th prime. If you watch yesterday's video, we were talking about the ritual they did with Steve Garvey yesterday, 163 days after his birthday. So keep an eye on 3 days from now. 3 days from now will be June 6th, 201 days before his 84th birthday. The Jesuit order has the 201 and 84 gematria. That's a powerful pairing. Possibly also Friday, June 7th. That's a span of 201 days to his 84th birthday. It'd be 200 days later, or a total span of 201 days. But something tells me there's going to be another big noteworthy Fauci headline before the end of the week, with it starting off with his testimony on a Monday. Poor old guy is still going through the ringer at age 83. But yeah, what a joke. What a joke. If you've never read my books, you can get them in physical form. You can get them in ebook form. You can download them for free. All sorts of ways to attain the information. Number Games is the book about the pandemic and beyond. Okay, so Trump's supposedly about to raise $150 million after the May 30th verdict, typically the 150th day of the year. Again, in Gematria, Illuminati equals 150. And there's a lot more to that number. Heliocentrism equates to 150. Heliocentrism says the sun is the center. And again, the sun's 150 million miles away on average. The small way Illuminati equals 48, like Alvin Bragg, like Donald Trump, like Hollywood, like Illuminati, like all the jokes with Donald Trump appearing in court right after they filmed the latest Joker scene there. And then he appeared there on what would have been Heath Ledger's birthday. And then Robert De Niro, who got shot in the latest Joker movie, is, protesting Trump. Hollywood, 48. Again, Donald Trump, 48. Illuminati, 48. Alvin Bragg, 48. But Illuminati's 48 and 150. And remember, President Donald Trump equals 248. On the Illuminati's 248th birthday, May 1st, Trump got a break from court to go campaign. They did him that favor. And then the country's about to turn 248 years old. And Trump's mugshot was on 24/8 and a whole lot more. But yeah, just news by the numbers. I mean, it's just so obvious why they're coming with the 150 million. And again, Baldwin shot the Ukrainian woman at 1:50 local time, the same Alec Baldwin who's portrayed Donald Trump on SNL for years. And then Donald Trump says if he were in office, Russia, Ukraine never would have broke out because him and Putin are friends. Well, they're both part of the Jesuit fraternity. That's what they are. And this is the Jesuit world stage where every day it's dictated by letters and numbers and words, the Kabbalistic way. So Larry Allen, here, let's confirm this real quick if Larry Allen was on that team. Football Reference will tell us all we need to know. I believe he was. Let's see. But in 93, the Cowboys beat the Bills with 52 points. And let's see. Larry Allen was actually drafted right after that Super Bowl. So he actually wasn't quite on that team, but drafted right after that Super Bowl was played. We'll come back to the 52 piece. Notice, here's the big thing. Again, 4 base ciphers of the English language. Alphabetic order with numerology, reverse alphabetic order with numerology. Larry Allen wore the number 73. The word sacrifice is 73. With the alphabetic order numerology, sacrifice is 46. He was the 46th pick of the draft. He played in Dallas, where JFK was assassinated at age 46. And of course, we just passed JFK's birthday anniversary on May 29th, just days ago. Sacrifice is also 62, and you can see in the same ciphers, Sacrifice and Larry Allen are 46 and 62. He died on June 2nd. Could be something about Mahomes, too. Patrick Mahomes is 62. That's a big number with his career. You might recall the Kansas City Chiefs in history used to be the Dallas Texans football franchise. Now it's the Houston Texans, but the old Dallas Texans team folded and they became the Kansas City Chiefs. First two playoff games of this year that were played were the Texans beating the Browns and then the Chiefs beating Miami on the same day. Andy Reid staying on 58 losses with the Chiefs as he won Super Bowl 58. Also, of course, Dallas, the day he died, got eliminated in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And Dallas, the NBA team, just advanced to the NBA Finals, the 78th season after being bought by Miriam Adelson, the 78-year-old with all the ties to Israel. So, yeah, I mean, 46th pick, 6'2" death, number 73, has all these sacrifice numbers connected to him. And then what else is strange is you see how Larry Allen equals 118? Dallas, Texas equals 118. We're just talking about how the Dallas series in hockey started 118 days after Wayne Gretzky's birthday, and he won the Stanley Cup with Edmonton, who beat them. And that series did begin on the 144th day of the year, and Wayne Gretzky's 144. And it reminds us of JFK, who was killed on the 144th day since meeting with the Pope in Dallas, Texas, at age 46. But remember, it was 2 years ago now, JFK's birthday after the Uvalde shooting, which was on the 144th day of the year, Joe Biden waited until JFK's birthday anniversary to go down to Texas to talk about the shooting. And Joe Biden, number 46, Joe Biden's name equals 152. We know Joe Biden just had the Chiefs at the White House on the 152nd day of the year. The Chiefs to be with the commander-in-chief as he gets the 46 jersey for number 46 on the 152nd day of the year. These things are not an accident. Again, from the Oval Office to, the rigged football field, the Jesuits are controlling all of these scripts. It's why they keep syncing up Joe Biden with the Celtics when his Secret Service name is Celtic. And again, John Havlicek died the day that Joe Biden announced he was running for president. John Havlicek, number 17, died 17 days after his birthday. Biden was born on the 17th birthday of RFK. RFK died in history on June 6th, 1968. That was the day the Boston Celtics turned 22 years old. Boston equals 22 like basketball. Boston Celtics also equals 78 for the 78th NBA season. Their 78th birthday is the day of Game 1, and it's going to be the 78th game of this year's NBA playoffs. Again, 77 games is how many it took to set the finals, and Boston equals 77, and Luka, the star of Dallas, who's compared to Larry Bird, who played for Boston. Where's the number 77? Both teams get 7 days of rest. Well, actually, Boston gets a little more than that, but the finals were set 7 days before they begin. But yeah, just year after year, it's just so obvious the ritualistic deaths connected to the sports championships. Larry Allen, huge Dallas star, as the Mavericks go to a championship. Bill Walton dead at 71, Celtics 71, the day that the Celtics clinch their finals berth. Again, keeping Rick Carlisle, the former Celtic, on 71 all-time playoff wins. By the way, he died in Mexico, right? And we're going to talk about Claudia Sheinbaum and how many 62s she has, but he died in Mexico the same day that Mexico announced they'll have their first female president. And in recent years, they started playing the Mexico game. I think last year it was the 49ers beating somebody down in Mexico, if I'm not mistaken. But they said Larry Allen was on vacation in Mexico and he just died instantly and unexpectedly. You see how from his birthday, November 27th, to his death was 26 weeks and 6 days? That's a bit like 266. Again, we're in the time of the 266th Pope, the first Jesuit Pope, who spoke in Washington, D.C. in 2015 on the 266th day of the year. The Jesuit motto, Isus Hominum Salvator, equates to 266. 266. And The word Pope equals 52. Again, we're on a calendar named after the Pope. 52-week calendar year for the Pope. The day he died was a date with 52 numerology as well. So Cowboys won the Super Bowl at 52 points, and then they got Larry Allen, and then they, went back to a Super Bowl, multiple Super Bowls. But yeah, he was drafted to the Cowboys right after that 52-point game. Okay. Pat McAfee with the Indiana sports connections, who now has the big show on ESPN, where if you've never watched the show, they kind of like pay tribute that they're just dumbass sports loving guys with mullet haircuts and, farmers tans, and they cuss a lot, especially for cable television. That's not HBO. But yeah, they try to be edgy and controversial, and they also start with a disclaimer. So anyway, this just doesn't need to be a story. It's like the way Pat McAfee is, anyway, just the way that they just manufacture headlines and attention, and that just gets more people looking to the Caitlin Clark story, and it feeds on all their little narratives of, the battle of the sexes and everything else they got going on. But look at this ritual, you guys. Look at the ritual of why this is happening. That they're calling Caitlin Clark the woman's Larry Bird, the greatest 3-point shooter of the women's game, connected now to Indiana like Larry Bird. And of course, the Eastern Conference Finals this year were Larry Bird State, Indiana versus the Celtics, the team he played for. And if you know Larry Bird, you know he wore the number 33. So go figure that today, well, by the way, Caitlin Clark's on the Indiana Fever, which equals 63. So this getting all this attention on June 3rd. But in light of today being the 33rd day of Patrick McAfee's age, again, it's his 33rd day of his age, Larry Bird, number 33. Notice how Patrick has that gematria of 78. Again, the 78th NBA Finals championship's about to get underway, 78th season. The NBA and WNBA are connected together in rituals. They have been since the WNBA got here. But his name, Patrick, has that 33 too. He's got the 5-2 birthday like Indiana's 52. Again, 33rd day of his age. Masonry, federal, secrecy order, all 33. DC's the Masonic city. American football's credited the 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason Walter Camp, who was also a member of Yale Skull and Bones. And there might be something about Skull and Bones because Pat McAfee played for the Colts in Indianapolis. Indianapolis Colts equals 192, and that's how old Skull and Bones is right now, 192 years old. Always Skull and Bones jokes around sports if you're paying attention. But notice, Bird has that gematria of 33 and 24. You got Caitlin Clark coming into the NBA or WNBA being compared to Bird as a shooter. You got Luka Doncic facing the Celtics being compared to Larry Bird as a shooter. The difference between Doncic and Larry Bird is Larry Bird never carried the ball. Doncic carries it every time he touches it. And that's why the NBA is so dumb at this day and age, because they don't even enforce rules. Guys are traveling all over the court. Guys are carrying the ball all over the court. People are ball hogs, just dribbling all around, carrying, hoisting up three-pointers from 10. It's like, well, what's the point of watching this? It's like athletes who don't know how to play basketball. I'd rather watch a bunch of 5'6" guys that know how to play basketball than the modern-day NBA. It's a joke. That's just how the NBA, like everybody's 7 feet tall now, and they're trying to make it so that everybody can handle the ball. No, go back to basketball. Enforce carrying and traveling, and let's see what it looks like. I don't think these modern NBA players can hack it because they're not true basketball players. But anyway, it's all 33s, right? And with regards to the Skull and Bones part, Walter Camp, again, was a Mason and a Skull and Bones member. Their alumni are Bonesmen, which is 33. Pat McAfee, something I caught about him is his birth numerology. May 2nd, 1987. 5 plus 2 plus 19 plus 87 is 113. Remember, Scottish is 113, is in the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, which has the highest degree of 33. At the Scottish Rite HQ in DC, 33 columns on the outside, each 33 feet tall. But Caitlin Clark has the 113, and if you guys missed it, we covered it when she made her debut on May 14th. It was 113 days after her birthday, and then they had the Indiana Pacers series going on, synced up with Caitlin Clark, showing you that she's a Manchurian. No, she's born on the 22nd day of the year in 2002, which is almost like 22. And where's the number 22? And again, basketball equals 22. Boston's also 22. Boston went to their 22nd championship in 2022. Now, here's the other thing that I was thinking about. Remember the NBA lockdown was on March 11th, 11/3, and Dallas is one of those 113 cities, and they scored 113 points the day of the pandemic being declared. And the Utah Jazz are the only team in the league who have a full name of 113. Dallas is the only 113 city. There's only two teams with a 113 connection in the NBA. They were both playing on March 11, 2020. The Utah Jazz game was canceled because of the spread of coronavirus blamed on the Frenchman Rudy Gobert. But Dallas finished their game that day and scored 113 points. It reminds me that Caitlin Clark had her career high 41 at once upon a time playing in Dallas. Of course, Dallas, the small way, is 41 rather than the big way, 113. And Dallas was established in 1841. So from her birthday to today is 133 days, and the football guy called her a white bitch. Some people might say Anthony Fauci's a white bitch. And just in light of that fever name, I just wonder if they're going to be, I wonder if it's like predictive programming for another type of basketball pandemic, if you will. But Anthony Fauci, again, 163rd day of his age today, as we talked about, the 38th prime, with his testimony on the 38th day of the year. And I guess I forgot to put the screenshot up here. I forgot to put the screenshot. So let me just show you. I just want you to see that white bitch equals 163. Again, the 38th prime. White bitch is also 53. Today's date numerology is 53. Yesterday, Larry Allen died at 52 on the 52 date numerology. White bitch has the 53 and 163. You know what else has the 53 is COVID. COVID has that 53. So yeah, and I'm just thinking fever, sickness, illness. They've done it before. Could they do it again? They just had the 201 ritual with preparing for disease X. Fauci's going to turn 85 later. Or did I say 85? I mean 84 later this year on Christmas Eve. Yeah, maybe a stretch on the white bitch connection, but also maybe not. Okay, I'm going to come back to the Bill Maher thing. But yeah, just the Wall Street glitch that got all the headlines this morning, with the Berkshire Hathaway being reported down to 1% of its stock value. Again, that's Warren Buffett's company. The Oracle of Omaha, from Jesuit-controlled Omaha, is Warren Buffett. But today, June 3rd, can be written 3-6 or 6-3. Wall Street, 36 forward, 63 in reverse with the numerology method. If you don't use numerology, it's 135 both ways. Again, they had to stop trading on several stocks during the glitch while the Dow was down 135 points. We've seen it before. We've seen it again. And it was 39 weeks and days from Warren Buffett's birthday. Remember, Dow Jones was 39 like New York. Remember, the Dow Jones hit 39,000 for the first time exactly 39 weeks into its age. If you're new here, everything is 39 in New York. It is 39 land, including the stock market. Now, Mexico, which is a highly Masonic nation, just like ours is. Remember, the Mexican-American War had a lot to do with 33. Mexico equals 33, like Masonry, like secrecy, like order, like federal. Again, it's a new world order, you guys. There might be borders there, but there's really not. And that's also part of why the border's so open right now. Something I notice around here is a lot of the people doing the labor jobs around here don't speak any English at all. It's incredible how few people speak English. And I imagine probably some of them are illegal immigrants here for work. I think part of the reason America's had to funnel in immigrants is because there's just not a lot of Americans with any skills to do normal jobs. And people in Mexico, they got skills and they're hard workers. But again, it is a new world order, and these countries' borders might as well just be an illusion at this point. You know, they're keeping you in this illusion or delusion that you have some kind of country. You don't. You live in the new world order, and your only job as a member of the country is to pay taxes to its government so it can support the new world order dealings. So, again, I want to remind people that when Joe Biden took office, we had a correct prediction for why Biden was going to win and become number 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, when Catholic equals 46, and he sacrificed Beau Biden at 46 plus a million other things. Right when he took office, we circled on the calendar right at this time for 2024. We were watching the dates May 31st, June 1st, saying right around that June 1st date, could see a transition to the first female president in U.S. history. And on the eve of June 1st, Michelle Obama's mother dies. And again, Michelle could end up becoming the first female or eventually a female president at some point. And then the day after June 1st, Mexico elects its first female president. And her birthday's Freemasonry, which is interesting because Freemasonry is only for men. And the other year, they overturned Roe versus Wade on Freemasonry's birthday. And some women would say these male politicians and male members on the court don't have anything to do with women's right to choose. You know, some people have that standpoint of view. But all of this stuff is high ritual, as we continually point out. But look at this, in light of it being completely Masonic. This woman is born in 1962. The election was on June 2nd, 6-2. Again, Larry Allen, 62, dead in Mexico on this day. But notice her birthday. She's going to turn 62 years old on Freemasonry's birthday. Well, Claudia Sheinbaum. Claudia Sheinbaum equals 62, just like Mason. And remember, the word Torah equals 62. And pretty much almost all of these numbers come from the verses in the Torah. They gain their meaning in the Torah. Just like in the Hebrew spelling of the alphabet, or just like, you know, the Hebrew, the original translation of the Old Testament, which is in Hebrew and Aramaic, everyone knows in Hebrew that every letter is a number, and they understand that there's many verses in the Bible that have this gematria, this letter and number code. English-speaking people need to learn this the same way because it's entirely the exact same thing. The English Bible has been created and numbered in accordance with the language in the calendar, and that's how these rituals are syncing up day after day. Elohim, the name for God in the Old Testament, has the 62, and there's a lot more to say about it, but my first book, Letters and Numbers, gets a little bit into this. If you want to read chapter 1 of Letters and Numbers, my first book. Okay, so again, it looks like I forgot to put the... man, I did bad with my screenshots. In the same way, Masonry, federal secrecy and order equal 33, so does Mexico. Mexico's also 33. That should be up there. Again, the first Grand Lodge, marking the era of modern Freemasonry, established in London, England. London's divided into 33 neighborhood areas on June 24th, 1717. Notice from Pope Francis's birthday to the election was exactly 24 weeks later. Claudia's 24, like woman. We were talking about this too with Kamala, why it could be the right year for the first woman president in U.S. history. And there's a part of my mind that's starting to go, oh my God, they're not going to reelect Biden and have this transition from him to Kamala happen later in history, or it's not going to be like Biden, Kamala drops out and Michelle Obama jumps on the ticket. Well, we'll see. There's different ways they can go with this. He very well could still pass the torch at this time while Kamala's 59. That was the other thought about it, and let him winning the 59th election, and that number's big link with Black history. But yeah, it's so funny that this is what we were talking about, how there were all these signs that we could get the first female president, like right at this moment. And then it happens in our neighbor country, right after Michelle Obama's mom died. So I'm going, we weren't exactly dead on, but we weren't far off. Okay, yeah. And again, just high ritual all over the place. Again, with regards to 33, the Mexico 33 should have been up there. Bill Maher, he supposedly lost politically correct over the 9/11 controversy, and then he got the show on HBO. And just notice, from the last episode of Politically Incorrect, July 5th, 2002, to the first episode of Real Time, exactly 33 weeks on the nose. And Real Time records at Television City, and it's also known as CBS Television City. But notice, and so did Politically Incorrect. Notice that Bill Maher began filming Politically Incorrect on his 187th day of his age, like Television City's 187. It's 187 and 191, like Society of Jesus. And again, HBO, who he now works for, was founded by Charles Dolan, the Jesuit. His middle name is Francis as well, Charles Francis Dolan. And so many Jesuit rituals with HBO over the years. Never forget that Tony Soprano of The Sopranos on HBO that came out in 99. Sopranos equals 99. He died 99 days after Pope Francis became the first Jesuit pope while vacationing in Italy, dying unexpectedly. like Larry Allen. But yeah, if you want to come read this post, there's a lot of little interesting pieces of information in here about Bill Maher's transition from politically incorrect to real time. And yeah, he's such a puppet of the. I hate how Bill Maher is a puppet of the establishment, but acts like he's not. It drives me nuts. I'm like, how does he get away with this position he takes? He's just such a mouthpiece for every major agenda. After 9/11, like he sort of questioned it, but was totally on board with all the crap that came out of it. You know, COVID, he was totally on board. Oh my God, this guy just. But he's also the perfect representation of the Jesuits because he's half Catholic and half Jewish. And again, the Jesuits began as a Catholic-Jewish alliance in response to the Protestant Reformation put on by Martin Luther, who targeted both religions. I got to look into the last name Sheinbaum because that doesn't sound very Spanish to me. Sheinbaum sounds like something else. The Akron shooting. So I was trying to do a decon in the morning, and I was reading different sources, and like every other source was saying something different. One source was saying it happened late Saturday. Another source was saying the shooting happened at 2:30 Sunday morning. I was like, okay, did it happen late Saturday or did it happen at 2:30 Sunday morning? How come different articles are reporting different things? We've seen this before, but there was a lot of discrepancy in the reporting of if it was Saturday night or Sunday morning. And ultimately, I just decided, you know what? If they're reporting like this, that it's Saturday and Sunday, there must be a reason for it. So I took a peek and I said, oh, look at that. From Ohio's March 1st birthday, that's the 61st day of the year, and Ohio equals 61 for the record. But from March 1st, and June 1st would have been, you know, the Saturday part of the shooting if it happened on 6/1. But from March 1st to Saturday was the 93rd day of the state's age. Sunday was 93 days later, or the 94th day of the state's age. So both dates had a 93 connection. And that's interesting with Saturday and Sunday, because Saturday is named after Saturn, and Saturn has the gematria of 93. And then the sun is said to be 93 million miles away on average, or 150 million kilometers away on average. Remember, Illuminati's 150 the big way, Order of Illuminati's 93 the small way. And what illuminates the world? The light of the sun. And they say Jesus' crucifixion, the Son of God, was on the 93rd day of the year. And of course, God's Son, like Nazareth, like crucifix, equals 93. Like Order of Illuminati, which was founded by a Jesuit who served the Catholic Church. It's funny, though, if you look into what's in history books about Adam Weishaupt, the founder of the Illuminati, who was a Jesuit, they say that he was like trying to wage a campaign against religion. I guess in a sense that's true. The Catholic Church does target other religions, don't they? But they say that Adam Weishaupt thought the Catholic Church had too much influence. I just think that's BS historical reporting. I mean, in a way, that's like, why would that be? He's a Jesuit going against the Catholic Church. It literally doesn't make any sense. Remember, the Illuminati was founded in the time of the Jesuit suppression. You start to look at it this way without all the BS and the fake history books. That starts to make sense. Like, okay, they created this other society in the time of their suppression to do their bidding in America, which was being formed at that time. And don't forget, the Jesuits came out of suppression in a huge tribute to the United States of America, synced up with James Madison, the father of the Constitution. Oh, I forgot to say that. I forgot to say that. The Bill Maher thing. I forgot to say the most important piece. I got all caught up in the numbers. Bill Maher was canceled before canceling was a thing for politically incorrect for what was said on September 17th in an episode 6 days after 9/11, because one of the panelists said that the kamikaze pilots, the terrorists, were brave people to do that, which is true if it's a true story. I mean, if you're so dedicated to the mission that you're going to blow yourself up to achieve a purpose, you might be a psychopath, but you're still a brave person to be willing to do that. So again, to have to be canceled for those remarks is ridiculous. But the thing is, those remarks were made on the anniversary of the Constitution, you see, which starts with the protection of free speech. So, you know, that's not an accident. It was on September 17th, 17/9, like 179. 179 is the 41st prime. Al Qaeda's 41. Saudi Arabia's 41. USA's 41. September 11th happened on 41. Date numerology 41's the 13th prime. The Jesuit suppression lasted 41 years, with the U.S. being formed in the middle of it. The mayor who got all the attention on Sunday talking about the Akron shooting, Shamas Malik. America's looking less like America, isn't it? And shout out to Indian people. I don't have a problem with Indian people, but it's just the point is like this. It's just like, when I was growing up, there weren't many Indian people in the U.S. Now it's just like they have all the big tech jobs. Apparently, they're the mayor of Akron, Ohio, in the heartland. Anyway, America's supposed to be the place where all people can come and succeed. So I'm just making the point about, like the country that you used to know is not here anymore. So Shamas Malik, again, it's the New World Order, you guys. Shamas Malik is 33 years old, right? And the only day of the week that has Gematria 33 is Sunday, the day you take your Bible to church, Bible 33, to learn about Jesus getting crucified on the cross that age. But yeah, in this case, it's according to the police, a mass shooting with a whole bunch of people shot and one dead. And yeah, he just had to be 33 years old. So he was giving his press conference on his 54th day of his age, reminding us of Cable 54, and they live the enemy of the world. Of course, the Jesuit headquarters at the Church of the Jesu, Building 54. The big fire in California, guys. There's a certain number that comes up all the time with death and destruction and fire, and it's 38. And from California's September 9th birthday to this fire breaking out Saturday, June 1st, 38 weeks later. 38 weeks. Fire has the Gematria 38. So does death. So does murder. So does killing. So does RIP. Big fateful number is 38. That's also 266 days, again, reminding us that we're in the time of the 266th Pope, the first Jesuit in the mottos Jesus Hominum Salvator for 266. With regard to the Pope, he's 87 years old. The name of this county where the fire started is San Joaquin County, 87. Pat McAfee in trouble today, born in 87. The town that had to get evacuated for the fire, Tracy. Notice just the overlap with Tracy and arson. And in light of the 38 thing, you might recall years ago when we covered the Masonic fire in Redding, California that burned 38 acres. The Masonic fire. There was a lot more to that. We covered that back in 2018. You can read my old post on that at freetofindtruth@blogspot.com. But yeah, secret societies. Our nation's federal city, known as the Masonic City, on the 38th parallel north, where the Jesuits set up camp before anyone was there. Modern Freemasonry is a Jesuit creation. Notice, though, just doing things by the Kabbalistic code. Fire 38 like Kabbalah, like energy like Gematria like English. Yeah, I'm just, like I've said it a bunch of times now in recent months that I don't even know if they really need to have another world war. I mean, they could just to add insult to injury, but since they control the weather and they have the weather warfare tools and humanity's like asleep at the wheel and has no idea about this, even though it's part of the admitted record for the better part of nearly the last 100 years. I mean, again, weather warfare was admitted to August 15th, 1952, the Jesuit order's birthday, and people still aren't caught up. I'll continue to make the same point. If they were pretty advanced with the weather warfare back then and they could create destructive acts in the skies, how far along do you think they've come in the last 72 years? Derechos by the numbers and just all this stuff. It's just the same numbers over and over. But yeah, I can't imagine. I'd love to see the stat for how many claims there are in Denver for what happened to everybody's cars and property from the hail last week. And again, it was a 35 Thursday ritual. They said it was the worst hailstorm in the U.S. in 35 years on Thursday. And remember, that was the 201st day of the Superior General's age and 201 days from the upcoming Pope's birthday, who's the first to live in Suite 201. And if you're new here, the judges have a long history of 201. And again, Lyndon Johnson said 201 days after JFK died, June 10th, 1964. He was at Jesuit Holy Cross. He said, "Who controls the weather controls the world." And this year you're seeing crazy tornadoes like never before in places they don't normally happen. And they just happen to be putting out Hollywood. Hollywood happens to be putting out the sequel to the 90s tornado movie Twisters on the 201st day of this year. Again, Yellowstone got messed up 2 years ago on June 13th, the day leaving 201 days left in the year with the once-in-a-thousand-year rain event, and on and on and on. What they did in Dubai was a massive 201 ritual earlier this year with the crazy rain and flooding. But yeah, that's why we were speculating on how Klaus Schwab, the Jesuit, could be so confident that, you'll own nothing and be happy. And now we were speculating that they'd make things super expensive, and that's what they're doing. All of this stuff raises everybody's rates. All these crazy weather things raise everybody's rates because the insurance companies have to pay out so much. There's probably like hundreds of thousands of claims on property just in the Denver area. It could be more than that. It could be upwards of 1 million claims. And then, what's going on in California with the early fires now. And California's been burning up from early in the year to late in the year, just year after year now. And every time you look at it, it's that same old pattern. But yeah, the only way to stop this is to raise enough awareness and humanity to put pressure. And instead of them, doing their rituals by the numbers, bringing Anthony Fauci out for the 155th day of the year when nothing's going to happen about it. It's like, we really need to have our members of Congress looking into the things we're talking about and getting to the bottom of it. Who controls the weather machine? Who's the person in the military that calls the shots with the weather warfare? Or is it another New World Order nation that participates and they use their weather machine so the U.S. doesn't have to do it on itself? Does U.S. knock on China's door and say, "Here, well, you scratch our back, and that means set California on fire today. We'll flood you out tomorrow"? Nothing would surprise me. Again, this is not a sovereign nation, you guys. Hasn't been for a long time. Hasn't been for all of our lifetime. The presidents have been talking about New World Order since I was nearly in diapers. Probably was. One president gave his exit speech about the military-industrial complex and how it'll grow to be our worst nightmare if something's not done about it, and that was way before I was alive. My parents were little kids back when that speech was given. Eisenhower, the New World Order, the military-industrial complex. Okay, and then the China moon landing on the dark side. I didn't even look for the Pink Floyd connection. It's probably there, but we're coming up on the 55th anniversary of the U.S. moon landing, July 20th, 1969, the 201st day of the year. Neil Alden Armstrong 201, Order of Illuminati 201. The moon illuminated by the sun. What a day for an Illuminati tribute that we supposedly walked on the moon. And remember, they synced it all up with Michael Jackson's 11th birthday. Apollo 11 was the year of Michael Jackson's 11th birthday, the moonwalker. Notice, again, in light of the 55th anniversary upcoming, it happened in July of 1969 in the time of Cancer when Cancer's ruled by the moon. But the 55th anniversary later this year, you run it the other way, moon landing's 53. And look, they said the mission's going to take 53 days. The mission began on 5/3. It began on 5/3, the moon landing mission, and is expected to last 53 days. Oh, man, I just, the fact, the people who I know sometimes come through here and they're just like, "Don't you know that that's just like the nature of numbers and it's very easy to find patterns in numbers?" I don't think so to this degree. Nope, I don't. I think you might be brain dead, son. 5/3, 53 days. And it was just a coincidence that Michael Jackson turned 11 and the gematria moonwalker from the moon landing to his birthday equates, because we're just looking for patterns. Yeah. Okay. All right, let me see if there's any other news stories I needed to cover, but that was the quick and dirty. Fauci's the top story. Larry Allen is a larger-than-life athlete and star for the Dallas Cowboys. Actually, I just realized there was one thing I didn't. Hold on. Let me see if the Cowboys open the season on Sunday or Monday. I know they don't open it on Thursday. Chiefs are expected to become 9-5 versus Baltimore on 9-5. Just open it. Sunday, Cowboys are playing September 8th. So they're playing Sunday versus the Browns. September 8th. That's my mom's birthday. Virgin Mary's birthday. All right, September 8th. All right, let's check real quick. Larry Allen's death just to the Cowboys opener. Normally I look at something like that, and I forgot to do it in this case. That's weird. The season opener is on 9/8, and he died 98 days before the opener. Hold on. I think Allen equals 98 when you run the alphabetic order in reverse. No, it's 91. I'm tripping. I bet there's something to that 98, but 98 days is 14 weeks. NFL has the big 14 connection. Remember, football equals 43, which is the 14th prime. Football 43, 14th prime. NFL 14. American football credited to Walter Camp, who went to Yale and was in Skull and Bones and was a Mason in Yale. Of course, it's 43, and we all know about the 43rd vice president going to Yale, Bush the first, and then the second one became the 43rd president when the election came down to Florida, which equals 43, where his brother was the 43rd governor, but he also went to Yale. Of course, Tom Brady went down to Florida at age 43 and won himself a Super Bowl, passing for 201 yards to go with all the other 201s in his career. Brady born 201 years after the U.S. and the Illuminati. Married to Giselle on Giselle's birthday, the 201st day of the year. But the Gilgo Beach killings. We'll have to look more into that, but that was a big old 201, Gilgo Beach. Gilgo Beach. 201. Yeah, we were covering that when that story was big. Rex Heuermann, huh? Rex Heuermann. Let's see if we can get a date of birth for this guy. He's born on the 43rd day of the year, 1964. He turns 60 years old this year. Today's the 150. It must be 112 days later, or is 113th day of his age, huh? If I can do basic math. 112 days later, Jesuits operate in 112 countries, or the 113th day of his age. 113 is quite the number. If you've never read my old post on 113 and its meaning in the Talmud and why it's used so much in the media, and also its relation to the Scottish Rite, the 3 months and 22 days stands out a bit as well. But can you learn the code? You start to see just how many 201s are always floating around. The mark of the cabal, the hidden tag in the language. Katy Perry fixed Harrison Butker's controversial commencement speech. Remember her big hit song that got the girls liking other girls. I Kissed the Girl, 201. Don't forget my experiment got ruined. I was going out to Seattle Pike Place Market to see if we could wake the people up to event 201 on the day leaving 201 days left in there, and somebody paid a guy to be out there all day with a pro speaker set up to drown me out. He said he would. He said be out there all day, and he did. And the first song he drowned me out with was Katy Perry, I Kissed a Girl. And then the second song was Lion King, Hakuna Matata. And then the playlist was it was just so weird, all the songs he was playing, but I can only remember the first two off the top of my head. I was like, it sounded like it was the loudest speaker. I was like, wow, he says, through all of Seattle, you can hear I Kissed a Girl because he won't let me. If you guys never see what I do when I go out to Seattle, I set up the speaker and a megaphone, and I teach on the street about what's going on in the world and what people need to wake up to. Almost like one of these live streams. But that day, they didn't let me get away with it. Why is the WWE in the top? What I mean, this is what am I looking at here? Why is that a top story right now? Watch the latest CNN headlines wrestling? Or is this just what they got to do to keep like people even looking at the page? Like, well, we found out that if we just put up WWE, they'll stay on there. They love rig wrestling. Shout out to Paula the Kitchen Witch, and shout out to Rick James as well. I appreciate that you guys are so generous with those gifted memberships. Congrats to the people who got them. And here, let's see that other. CNN's a little bit more for the Democrats. Fox News a little more for the Republicans. Fox News is focusing on RFK today. Interesting. White House hopeful RFK Jr. wants Americans to pay dramatically more for a gallon of gas. Oh, just like Bill Gates, our other 201 friend. Well, I know what RFK Jr. stance is going to be. Again, he did write the book Crimes Against Nature. And yeah, again, he's another big guy on cutting carbon emissions. And again, just they want to price us out of everything. He's part of the Jesuit fraternity as well. So, I mean, you get these Jesuits behind closed doors that are doing this. They might tell you that they're doing it because they really do want to save the earth, and they know that they got to get rid of people to do it. They got to phase people out to save the earth. But I hate the tactic if that's the way it is. I feel like just tell people honestly what it is and say, listen, either we're going to have to figure out a way to, cut down our population numbers one way or another, or we got to get you guys on board big time helping us cut emissions. What if the government created a way for people to have community and local agriculture and not need the 9 to 5 anymore and just focus their life on community and having healthy, abundant food around that's made in a sustainable way? I mean, to me, that's the way to go about it. You got to make a drastic change on earth, get people behind it. Instead of subsidizing all these multimillionaires and billionaire companies, which is what our government does, passes on our tax money. Again, people, yeah, it is true. There's a lot of welfare queens and all this, but the biggest welfare queens in the world are like the super rich. A lot of the tax money just goes to them. Their companies get subsidized. I mean, look at what was going on when, I guess Obama had become president then. But Dick Cheney made a bunch of money off the war with his Halliburton. Halliburton got so many government contracts, his company. And then shortly after the Bushes got out of office, you might recall that Halliburton bought the world's biggest oil cleanup company for I forget what it was. It wasn't that much money compared to how much money it made just days later. But Halliburton bought an oil cleanup company. And then remember the Discovery Gulf oil spill, that massive, I want to say that happened in 2010, if I'm not mistaken. But go back and look at that, how Dick Cheney's Halliburton had just bought the company just days before it happened. And then they got the huge contract from the government to clean it up. And it just looked like it was all some big inside job. Like, here, create the problem and funnel more money to Dick Cheney's Halliburton. Yeah, all this stuff that's been going on, and just most people don't have a clue about it because, just like right here, let me go back to the CNN front page. Did they take it down? I can't believe it. Let me see if it'll come back up. But yeah, I mean, now we're going HBO Max, some other advertisement. Again, I mean, almost everybody spent all their time on entertainment, and I get it. We are the mentality is you get one life. I want to enjoy it. I don't want to look into all this crap that's depressing, which is like our government and the news. But the reason that I spend my time doing it is because I've always seen my whole life how when big things happen, how the government and news shifts everybody into dangerous directions. After 9/11, it happened. In COVID, it happened. It'll continue to happen. And life will continue to get worse for everybody as these things happen. So somebody has to spend the time and energy to figure out what's really going on and stop it. And I feel like that's what I've been trying to do for pretty much all of my adult life. It's so frustrating that the cavalry is not coming in behind. And, just even some bigger platforms that used to help me out a little bit years ago and give me a shout here and there and bring me on for an interview, they haven't for years. And it's just like, I don't get it, man. It's just, we got it figured out over here, and I don't know what's wrong with the rest of the world. Okay. You would think based on the book that I wrote, You'd think that the book I wrote, Number Games, would have sold 100 million copies by now and been one of the best-selling books of all time in the way it laid out everything that was going to happen with the pandemic before it happened and called all the dates dead on, which is exactly what we did with the book. But again, you'd think like my phone would be buzzing all day from the media. Oh my God, your book about coronavirus from 155, and now they're bringing Anthony Fauci back on the 155th day. But that doesn't happen, right? I didn't get contacted from a single person today, and my book hardly sold any copies. In terms of, what these big celebrities do. Bill Maher's on TV gloating about how many copies his new book sold. Like, why is anyone buying his book? Does anyone remember the book he put out after 9/11? It's like him in a car with Osama bin Laden on the cover. That book used to make me sick. I like Open Up's attitude. He says the big break will come. That's the mentality. That's why I get up and do it every single day, because I just think eventually it'll come. But again, what's frustrating is this work, it was taken off in 2016 and 2017, and I was getting some breaks back then. And then it's just like it's been totally cut off since then. As you see, I mean, when was the last time you saw a video with more than 5,000 views? If it had more than 5,000 views, it wasn't too many more. And again, take it back to 2017. Every video I put out probably had at least 10,000 views in the first 10 minutes of being out. Until the channel started getting deleted, then I couldn't get any views or subscribers back. But until the deletion June 28, 2017, things were starting to pop. Shout out to Frank the Truth Tank and everybody else. Doing well, Frank, but also about to wrap up the stream. So you got here better late than never. And for the person that am I taking calls, I'll have to save it for later. I got to... Sweet Lady's going to be home in about 10 minutes, and I got to pop some... Put the finishing touches on dinner right now. So it's bacon in the oven, but a few more steps I got to do. So anyhow, we'll leave it there for now, Truth Seeker. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you to everyone who hits like and the share. And until next time.